I'm gonna record, sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Rochelle Gomez. I went to Gibson News Academy when I was in Ethiopia. And now I'm a rising junior at Columbia University, majoring in political science and information science. And my involvement with CTP, I was a student actually when I was in 10th grade, and that's how I found out about Columbia University. And after getting accepted, I worked as an instructor for the reading section. I was then a coordinator and a member of the education team, and I'm now one of the two.
Okay, nice. All right, Brooke.
All right, hi everyone. May Brooke now. I went to St. Joseph High School.
Brooke, can you speak louder? I think we can't hear you.
Let me try loudspeakers. Can you hear me now?
Actually, perfect.
May Brooke now. I went to St. Joseph High School. I've been involved with TTP. I go to Columbia University. I'm a rising senior. I'm majoring in computer science and minoring in applied math. I've been working with TTP for 4 or 5 years, I think now. First year as an instructor, 2 years as a coordinator. Yeah, and now I'm in the finance team. Which, nice to meet everyone here. I'm looking forward to this.
Nice, thank you. Talay?
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Talay. I went to Nazareth School for high school because I joined CTP just like Karaduga as a 10th grader. I was a student then, and then eventually I was instructor and then a coordinator. And now I'm one of the heads of education with Rochelle. CTP has definitely been very helpful to me in my application process. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm so involved right now, because like I really think that it's really helpful for you guys too, and I want to pay it forward. So now I go to the University of Pennsylvania, and I'm a nursing and nutrition major, and hopefully I'll graduate next year. Yeah, so I'm a rising senior, and you guys can ask any questions you have.
Thank you. All right. Debbie?
Hi everyone, my name is Davey. I went to St. Joseph High School. I'm a rising sophomore at Columbia University. I'm undecided with regards to a major. I started working with CTP last year. I was a math instructor. I was running the summer sessions for the SAT level 1 this summer. Yeah.
Nice. Aman?
Salam everyone, Amanuel Balallo, Columbia class of 2018, currently doing software engineering at IBM. High school Debre Marcos preparatory school now. I'm the only non-Addis Ababa CTP member and a proud non-Addis Ababa CTP member, I would say. Kazauchi, what is there? Oh yeah, I joined CTP in 2016. I was involved in a couple of roles, one of which includes president from like 2018 to 2019. I'm currently the careers chair. I was the careers chair actually. Currently, I just fill in whenever I'm needed, basically. That's me.
Nice. All right. Is there any other instructor that hasn't introduced themselves? All right. Join us.
I joined CTP in the summer of 2018 as an instructor. Currently, I'm the tech for CTP.
We can't hear you
Yeah.
anymore.
You're on mute.
Oh. How about now?
Yep.
Can you guys hear me now? Okay, perfect. I don't know what happened. I got cut off. Okay. All right. I'm back now. All right. So as I said, this is a chance for you guys to ask any questions that you have in general. It could be about CTP. It could be about the application process. It could just be about like our experience in general. So feel free to type in the chat any questions that you have. And till you do that, we can also converse, but all right. Okay, do you have any questions? Hala, I think you raised your hand. Do you have a question? You can unmute yourself and ask. Hala, can you hear me? No? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Okay, do you have a question? You raised your hand.
Yeah. My question is, can you align yourself with the core values of Columbia University? It stands for innovation and technology, right? Does it define you in a way?
Interesting. Whiskey, I'll ask the Columbia University grads. I'll start with that one because you graduated from Columbia. I'm going to put you on the spot. I'm going to answer that question.
لأني أستألف أنت من اللي لما تفلقي له طبعا نبصر. That is a very good question. To be honest, in the Zena Nagaroch, like they disappear like a couple weeks after you start classes, because you're just too busy trying to keep up with everything. Again, definitely, I can talk about the benefits of Columbia. Again, like aligning myself to Columbia's values. I don't think I like Columbia's values, so like that is a hard question. Like you're shaking your head. I like the fact that I went to Columbia because it's in New York City, and New York is like the tech hub of the East Coast. And as a computer science major, I think it was good that I went to Columbia, which happens to be in New York City. But in terms of everything else, I honestly don't know if I align with anything. I don't know if you guys feel differently.
Okay, Debbie, you're shaking your head no. Do you have anything to say about that? No? Okay, Rochelle, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, the Columbia rep, Rochelle,
yeah, exactly. This is she, Rochelle.
As a non-STEM major, innovation and technology marat bikabdum. I think the perks was like institutions such as Columbia University is that it has a lot of resources, it has a lot of money. On Upsali, there are things such as the maker space, which is, I don't know if you guys can talk more about it, but it's a space where you can create like a lot of using like high-tech technology, like the 3D printers or whatever, you can make something that, whatever you desire. These core competencies or whatever you want to call them, Columbia will give you the resources, and it's up to you whether you take advantage of them and whether it lines up with whatever you want to do with your time here. And I don't think Columbia or any other institution after you enroll is really actively pushing you to, you have to do this, you have to exactly, improve upon this competency. They'll just give you the resources, and it's up to you on how you take advantage of them, I think.
Great. Hala, does that answer your question a bit?
It does, thank you. Can I ask another question?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
But why Columbia? I mean, I've seen that Columbia has more Ethiopians. Is that the reason? And from Ivy Leagues, which one is better to accept Ethiopians from non-international schools?
Okay. I'm gonna give you guys the chance to answer first, then I can take the question. But Baruch, I'll put you on the spot now. Why Columbia?
this is not a good question for me. Colombia was not my first choice. Colombia was like the, the last choice. Again, what was the other question? In terms of Habesha students, I think Colombia is definitely the Ivy League that accepts a lot of like students from Ethiopia. At least I'm not exactly sure. Might not be like a fact. Again, from what we've seen, they've been consistently taking like 3 or 4 students directly to Ethiopia every year, which is not kind of the case in other like Ivy League schools. Sometimes it doesn't mean like, I think Harvard takes students, Yale takes students, UPenn also takes students from Ethiopia. I don't know. I guess Brown isn't it common? I think all of them actually take students. But Columbia, I don't know why. Maybe it's because their admissions office, they have Whitney Tanam the East African admissions, or maybe the African admissions center. She comes to Ethiopia regularly and has connections and like already knows the school system and everything, like the quality of the school system in Ethiopia, and maybe that's why they recruit students from Ethiopia like consistently. But we don't know for sure. And in terms of why Columbia, I think someone else should answer this. Probably Rochelle should answer this.
I'm gonna. I was gonna put Rochelle on the spot again because I think she would be our good Columbia rep, guys. Rochelle, do you want to answer why Columbia?
Enggadi, from when I was looking at colleges, I really was looking for a very liberal arts education personally. I wanted to go to a school where most of the classes that I was taking wasn't going to be defined by just the major I was taking. And with Columbia, at least was for Columbia Collegians, not the engineering school. There's a lot of emphasis on making you try out and explore other fields that you might not even be interested in. Like even if you're a humanities major, like they ask you to take like technical classes, science requirement, or there are classes called global core where they do other realizations. I think I've been able to in just 2 years like explore classes from like 4 or 5 departments, and it's with someone coming in relatively like undecided with what I wanted to major in. It gave me a chance to kind of more comfortably explore my options without really fear of it affecting like my education in a major way. And I don't know, personally, like I align a lot with like at least the sticker value of what Columbia says it values. So that's personally why I chose Columbia.
Nice. Thank you, Rochelle. Okay, I'm gonna go to some of the questions in the chat box because we have a lot of questions coming in. Okay, is everything from the website gonna be taken down? No. I mean, we probably won't be using the Moodle website, but we'll make sure that you guys have access to the videos that we've recorded through our YouTube channel. And we'll send out further information about how you can access the material. So don't worry about that. Another question from Hate is how often is the ACT given? What are the months it's given on? So because of Corona, I don't know what this year is going to be like. Usually, I think it's given 5 times, and the subject has 7 times. I might be like on the number. Again, College Board, we also have attached a PDF demystification section about the schedule. schedule now. Because of COVID, but we don't know what the coming year is going to look like. But you should find the schedule, College Board, collegeboard.org. And there's an entire video and demystification section about testing, so you should look at that. Okay. Can you give tips on writing your essay? All right. All right, I guess I'll start off and then I can have one other person add to this. I'll have, I guess, Talay add to this. So like, in terms of writing your essay, I don't know, that's like a packed question, like specifically on the like Is it brainstorming? Is it like editing? Is it, you know, what like phase of the writing your essay? Again, one thing that I've seen in terms of like writing the Common App essay, at least for me, I don't know if this was true for everyone, የሆነ በአንድ ቀን ምናምን ቁጭ ብለን የምንጽፈው ነገር አይደለም። ልክ የትምህርት ቤት essay እንደተሰጠን like ቁጭ ብለን okay now I'm gonna write about this ነው የምንለው ነገር አይደለም. It takes a lot of time. ለዛ ነው essay በጣም ቀድማችሁ ጀምሩ የሚባለው. And that's also one of the crucial parts of the application, right? Lemon, your recommendations are basically what your teachers have to say about you. Your transcript is basically what your grades say about you. But your essay is what you say about yourself. And not ስለዚህ እኔ what can I say about myself to these admissions officers ብላችሁ ነው የጻፋችሁ ያላችሁት, right? So it's like it's a crucial part of the application process. And now I think በጣም disregard እናደርገዋለን በተለይ we think you know SAT ካለኝ like SAT አሪፍ ካመጣው transcript አሪፍ ከሆነ but I can get into any school. And they pay a lot of attention to the essay. So students በጣም የሆነ ዛሬ CTP ላይ ተኖምና ራስቸለተኝነት ሊሆን ይችላል ግን ይሆናል ለሳምንት ምናምን ሲቀረው you start working on your essay. That does not work. So you have to kind of cultivate your essay throughout the summer ሊሆን ይችላል. I don't know ቁጭ ብላችሁ you're going to have a lot of drafts. እስካሁን ልንገራችሁ 20 ምናምን ድራፍት እንድትጥሉ ትችሉ ይሆናል. It's just going to be something that you're going to work on through time. ልቀያይሩ ትችላላችሁ. አንድ essay ጽፋችሁ you might come across a better idea and now you're like okay I'm going to start from scratch. So just trust in the process. የሆነ ቁጭ ብላችሁ ደግሞ like ሰዓት ይዛችሁ okay ዛሬ ከ3 ሰዓት እስከ 4 ሰዓት brainstorm አደርጋለሁ ምናምን ትሉት ነገርም ላይሆን ይችላል. It could be just an idea that comes to you. But my tips in general is that give it a lot of time. Like SAT ላይ focus እንደምታደርጉ essay ላይ just give it a lot of time and focus on that. Is there something you want to add?
Another thing I'd add is just like when you're brainstorming, think about the things that you want to highlight about yourself. You don't have a lot of words, and this is your chance to, like Radhika said, like to actually highlight things about yourself that you want to say to the college admissions officers. What are things that like are not reflected in your application that you would like them to know about you? So think about core values that you want them to see and think about how you can build that into your essay. Another thing is I think it's very important to have a lot of people read your essay because there are so many perspectives and a piece of caveat, like a piece of disclaimer is like it's like just because you know you show it to everyone doesn't mean everyone has the right opinion, you know what I mean? Like you might get but like when you show it to a lot of people you might get like very polarizing views and not like pick and choose and see like what like aligns with your vision for your essay because at the end of the day it is your essay, it is not someone else's essay. Again at the same time it's so important to have like a fresh perspective on your essay. Like for example you might even make like grammatical errors that you didn't notice and not like someone else might pick it up for you. Or like you know stuff like that like can be very like and just having like and making good use of your mentors and like talking to them and like kind of like telling people what you're trying to like say in your essay. Am I cutting up?
No, you're not.
Okay. And not just like making sure that you know what you're trying to say and you're able to say it. And also show don't tell. I think this is something that's always like mentioned within the essay process. I'm sure the video also says this. Don't say like I'm creative, show them how you're creative. Like yeah, I think those are the things that I'd like to highlight. I mean if anyone else wants to add something, I'm sure there are things you want to say. Go ahead.
Okay, that's good. I'm like going to the next question because we have a lot of questions in the chat. But if you
and I was just skimming through the questions እና ብዙዎቹ ጥያቄዎች like ወይ ቴሌግራም ግሩፕ ላይ መለስናቸው ወይ ደግሞ demystification video ላይ ዲስከስ አድርገናቸው ስለሆኑ like just let's try to filter out questions that have been answered elsewhere.
Great. Okay, that's a great reason. Thank you. All right, I'll just quickly highlight where you can find the answers. I'll read out the question. I'll tell you where you can find them if we have discussed them already. How much does the whole process cost you? I mean, this is a very subjective question. I can't really answer that, to be honest, because you know they're like it depends on the school, right? Like SAT ሊጠይቅ ይችላል፣ TOEFL ሊጠይቅ ይችላል፣ የማይጠይቅ ትምህርት ቤት ይችላል፣ SAT የማይጠይቅ ትምህርት ቤት ሊኖር ይችላል. So it's very subjective. It really depends on your school, and then it really depends on like if you're applying early decision only to one school or if you're applying to a lot of schools. So it's very subjective. Hard question to answer, I would say. Okay, is there if you finished everything, if you have the qualifications, they don't mind. they would gladly have you. Okay, I got a question for all of you. Why are you all from Colombia? Why are you all in Colombia? Okay, so that's a good question, I guess. So CTP was founded by Colombia students. So because of that, it's a lot of the members, a lot of the CTP New York team has been like primarily Colombia students. By the way, I'm not cutting out. I think my internet is like going on. Great. All right. Okay, and now, but as you can see, we have a lot of new additions to our board. Like is from UPenn, Aaron is from Lehigh, and then Gabby. I don't think she's here yet, but Gabby's from Pomona. So yeah, so we do have a lot of our CTP alums and CTP board members that are in other schools. But yeah, the majority is Columbia. Okay. From reviewing college applications as a CTP mentor, which parts of the college application do you think we Ethiopian high schoolers need to work on most? That is a great question, I would say. And my answer, I don't know if you guys like ለእናንተ የተለየ ነገር ካለ ቀደም ብየዋለሁ, is the essay. It's like I think as the Ethiopian curriculum focuses a lot on like ውጤት, right? Like ቁጥር እና የሆነ 99 ከመቶ ምናምን 100 ከመቶ የሚለው ነገር, we're just like into those numbers. So we have a good mindset about like working on the SAT. በጣም በቃ እሱ ላይ practice test መስራት እንችላለን, በቃ በስነ ስርዓት we can work on that. But we always forget the essay. And not like መጨረሻ ሰዓት ላይ እና like as a CTP mentor ሁሌ struggle የሚያደርገው ተማሪው essay ላይ ነው. Specifically SAT ላይ ደግሞ ካለ reading section ላይ በጣም ብዙ ሰው struggle ያደርጋል. Math section usually a lot of students are good. Reading section ላይ ግን a lot of students struggle. Is there anything in addition that you'd like to say? Any of the instructors ከእናንተ experience? Okay, Rochelle. Yeah, go ahead.
These aren't the most important aspects of your application, but it's still pretty good that on here recommendations and extracurriculars, while it's not, you know, like the biggest percentage of your application still part by honem, it's very important that you have like a cohesive application, like an application that tells one story about you, and your recommendations that your teachers write for you, making sure you get the right recommendations from them, making sure that they would highlight some of the things you want them to highlight, like talking to them about, like talk about my extracurricular experiences or how I am in class. And extracurricular, like what have you been spending your time outside of class? I know as Ethiopian students, ብዙም extracurricular opportunity የለንም, ግን it doesn't always have to be the biggest, flashiest thing. Like የሰራችሁት ነገር, anything small, honestly, even like people have mentioned this, it could be caring for family members, babysitting, anything can be spun in a right way for you to describe like what values it has instilled in you, ምን አይነት experiences it has given you. And I wouldn't just dismiss it as just another part of the application that you have to fill out. Making sure it lines up with the personal statement that you're writing, if possible, with the potential majors that you're to, is also an important aspect.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, I'm just skipping ahead to the questions. So a lot of the questions that I see are about extracurriculars. Bob's the extracurricular. I just want to point out that we have released an internet video on extracurriculars under the demystification section. So please check that out. I'm pretty sure that would help answer a lot of questions. So a lot of the questions in my people are asking, okay, so what did you do as extracurricular in high school? What do you recommend we write as? And not, I think in the video I talk about this, but on subjective note, like it's, you know, I don't know. It's like, I can't tell you, all right, ዛሬ ሄዳችሁ ለዚህ organization ተመዝገቡ ይሄንን musical instrument እንትን በሉ, you'll get into Columbia. That's it. And I'm not extracurriculars are personal experience, and that's why they're there. That's why they ask you those questions, right? Because, you know, SAT and then it's no now, you know, recommendation, and they're like at the same standard. Again, extracurricular really tells them about the kind of person you are, the kind of experiences you have, what interests you, and now metachuza college cultivate an experience. So it's a very personal, I don't know, it's very subjective. But the only thing that I would say is that just try to involve yourself the college experience extracurricular. It's also for you. It's about what interests you. Volunteers you're more interested in it, you actually do better in it. It doesn't really make a difference in a 3 weeks and difference when you're interested in it, you do more of that activity. So it's very subjective. I would just say just don't do it for the application sake. That's the little thing that I would say. But extracurricular, there's an entire video on it, and then if necessary, because I'm seeing a lot of people have questions, we can release another video also. Okay. I see someone asked, is it better taking a gap year? So I know we have a few people who took a gap year. So do you guys want to kind of give your experience? Brooke, do you want to start?
Okay. Is it better, Sahon? Like, I don't suggest taking a gap year, just like leave. If you're 12th grade, 11th grade right now, okay, I won't apply now. I'll just apply later on, but like, don't take a gap year. Or like, what I suggest you do is go ahead and apply, go ahead and do everything that you need to do to apply for, like, to apply in time during your senior year, which means this, like, applying in time gives you all of the experiences that you need to know. Like, how do I write an essay? What are the hard parts of the college application essay? Next time you apply, in case things go wrong, in case you get rejected from all of the schools that you applied to, you have a second chance and you know what things went wrong. You know, like, what things you need to improve on. Again, if you just go ahead and take a gap year before applying and the what happens is gap year applies taragu, you have no advantage. Like, there is no experience that you can learn from. The whole point of gap year is, I've done this once, and like, if you've applied to 10 different schools, I know 10 different ways to get rejected. Now I'll learn from all of those mistakes, and then I'll kind of improve, like, work on those mistakes, and like have more time to just improve the stuff that I kind of was missing on. So if you like take gap year CBAR, it doesn't mean don't apply now, apply next year, Simon. Yeah, sure, go ahead and apply now. Again, if things go wrong, you can still go ahead and apply next year again. It would still be the same thing. You'd still have the same chances, the same opportunities. And don't, like, not if you got good scores, like good SAT scores on your first try, you don't have to retake your SAT exams or then your TOEFL exams again. You can just work with your, like, SAT scores that you've had before, like on your previous application. But now you can work on other parts, like your essay. You'd have like a whole year basically to work on it, and then recommendations, you'd have a whole, like, a good amount of time to recommendation. So take a gap year CBAR. It's not like just keep applying now, Sahon. You can go ahead and apply next year if you get rejected now. Again, I definitely suggest everyone, even if you have batam finish time, just for the whole experience of it, go ahead and apply until the end. And I think Debbie can say more too, since
you kind of said it all. Like, you learn something about your application now. Like, the first time around, like, I was rejected lots of times. Now I was even rejected from Columbia. Like, that was my ED. Then it kind of, like, I took a step back and, like, I kind of saw, like, what was going on. And, like, going to, like, what Vishal said before, you are trying to tell, like, a story. And, like, I found myself learning in a building. There were, like, too many stories. So, like, I thought about it, and, like, I was not telling, like, one solid story. So it kind of made me think. So there's something definitely that you're going to realize once you apply. So definitely, like, you should just, like, apply and, like, see what's wrong, and like you will improve it.
Solid. Thank you. All right. Thank you guys for that. All right. I see some questions. I guess I can ask this to like our rising sophomores. Aaron, Debbie, you can answer this. How do you find America and college? Did it meet your expectations? How do you fit in the community in terms of culture and stuff? Aaron, do you want to take the question?
It's a good question. I honestly think it's all up to you as a person. It's usually when someone like there's a culture shock, ምናምን ይባላል ለመጣን. Actually, there is መጀመሪያ እንደመጣን አካባቢ because like the society we grew up in እና እዚህ ያለው it's a bit different. መጀመሪያ usually እኔ እንዳየሁት ነገር ግን like እያደግን እዚሁ like ስንመጣ እንትን እያለን እየለመድነው ስንመጣ ምናምን things change. Now, one thing I learned through this, there's probably gonna be a group of people you're gonna be hanging out with. You're gonna sit with them, and you're gonna make friends. I guess if that's there's probably gonna be a culture shock.
You're stuck in a gun?
Am I stuck?
Okay.
Yeah.
On your back. On your back.
Yeah, I might be
Can you hear me?
working.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Thank you.
Alright.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute everyone and I'm gonna let you guys.
I mean, like, yeah, definitely, like, as
Answer.
Alan said, like, there's definitely, like, a culture shock. Again, it's not really, like, I think you'll get, like, used to it within, like, a month or two. And there are, like, definitely ways you can deal with it, like, you know, like, dancing, like, there are ways to deal with, like, all of these things. And now you don't really have to suck into it. Like, there are, like, lots of ways you can deal with it. So, yeah.
I love it. Okay. I think there are more questions about like our experiences. So I think everyone will have a chance to talk about it because I know everyone has different experiences coming to the US, but we'll talk more about it. I saw a couple of questions, actually a lot of questions about relating to financial aid package and like if you don't get full financial aid working on campus, and how do you balance jobs? What kind of jobs do you work? Lei, do you want to speak more about that? Because I know you've had that experience.
Okay, so part of my financial package at Penn includes a work study amount. And that work study is basically a sum of money that your school's willing to give to you, but it's your money, but the catch is you have to work for it. It's a really interesting concept. So you apply for jobs, and then you apply for work study jobs, and then like, you know, like depending on how many hours you work each week, you earn that money. Usually the maximum, I'm pretty sure everywhere, the maximum amount of hours you can work per week is 20 hours. And like, depending on the job that you're working, like you might work any like literally anywhere between like 5 to 20 hours a week. I personally have basically always had a job. Something that I'm starting to realize is that like you don't necessarily need to do your work study job, like depending on how much you actually if you don't have a stipend, then like other schools probably will give you some sign up for, there are like different things that you can end up doing that require different amounts of effort and time. So for me, like it wasn't a problem working like 16 to 20 hours a week, because for me, like going to the desk meant studying and it was helpful. Whereas like I have friends who work in dining halls where you actually have to do work, and in that case, like you have to think about how much time you have free that you can work and like you can dedicate to working. I hope that answers the question, but yeah, that's what I have to say on it.
You're muted, Redgun. I think you picked on me. Yeah.
Yes.
I want to add here is, while Inya, like we're going to relatively like schools that have much more endowment and might be able to give you a stipend, and then your work study will be used for like extra expenses. For some other schools, if you have a large amount that you need to pay like off to like the campus, like work study job search when I can pay it off and also literally like which like feminine or something like when like mentions there's usually a 20-hour on these limits. Most of the wages are on plan is financial aid. How's your plan on distributing the money that's expected of you? You have to research because these policies are not universal by any means. Yeah, just wanted to emphasize that.
I want to add on that too. Rochelle and Dalachu, if you're going to be expected to pay a lot of money after financial aid towards your tuition or fees, አሁን like እኛ ስናስበው አንዳንዴ you might think like, oh my god, like 50 ሺህ 60 ሺህ ሰጥቶኛል, all I have to cover is 10 ሺህ ምናምን ብላችሁ you might feel like 10 ሺህ is a small amount of money to cover. Then the reality is አሁን team Rochelle እንዳሉት from work study, I don't know, T, correct me if I'm wrong, ግን like you will not get more than $3,000 per semester. እሱንም like በደንብ ከሰራችሁ ነው like 20 ሰዓት በየሳምንቱ እየሰራችሁ ሴሚስተሩ ሙሉ ምናምን ስታደርጉ you might get 3,000. ከዛ በኋላ ግን like የቀረውን you either have to take out a loan from the institution or from the government, and institutions usually don't give out loans. And government will not give out loans to international students. ስለዚህ ከፕራይቬት ሰዎች ነው ከፕራይቬት ባንኮች ነው loan ማድረግ የምትችሉት። እንደዛ ሲሆን ደግሞ because you're international, like it's more riskier to lend money to you, the interest rate is going to be very high. ትንሽ የሚባሉት interest rates, they're like 7% ምናምን. So not only do you have to pay 10 ሺህ, but you have to pay 7% interest every year. And that's going to accumulate. And that's going to put a lot of pressure on you as students to think about, oh my god, I have Hashi loan, how am I going to repay it? Like it takes away from the being a student Milo experience. So be extremely careful about you're not unless you have like the money. Loan metachawt allo ምናምን ብላችሁ አትዳፈሩ. It's an extremely difficult process as international students to come to the US and take out loans.
All right. Thank you for that. That was a great response from everyone. So I think my internet cut out at some point and my chat box has been cleared. So Aman, I'm going to give you, you're going to have to go through the chat and call on the questions. But before that, there was one question that I saw that I can answer as go through the chat. And some asked, as I heard a lot of you speak, a lot of you are double majors or, you know, a minor or something. How is that? Do you advise that for people? How is it to balance? Okay, so I know Talay and I are double majors, and like Brooke is doing a minor, also Aaron too. And I don't know, as a double major, it is going to be hard to balance, but I think the only thing, so it depends. For example, for me, computer science and psychology, computer science has more of a workload than psychology. So it's I kind of just know how to to take my classes. Okay, hang on in the abzuche with semester because I don't know yang on abzuche. I think I know how to balance it more. The one thing that I think being a double major will kind of force you to give up is that when you come into a liberal arts school, you can take a lot of classes. A major after coming, like then I want to know electives. That a lot you're like, oh, the history of dance. Oh, this is like when you're a double major and you have a lot of requirements, that really goes out the window because you have a lot of classes to take. So elective yes, so idea, but I'm diminish and now you end up just taking classes just specifically for your major. So if you're the kind of person that wants to come to college and do a major, but also explore, like in the true definition of exploration, like take different classes and explore, being a double major might not be the right fit. Then if you already know, if you're like, okay, I'm comfortable with these majors, I can do them, you're fine. That's, I think, my take on it. Delay, if you have more to say about being a double major.
No, I completely agree with what Radit said. Like, when you become a double major, you're definitely going to have to use your general electives or your free electives to kind of double count towards your other major, towards your second major. And so like you have to really do that cost benefit analysis for yourself. Like, is it worth, like, what do you value? Like, do you value those electives or do you value the major that you're taking? For me, like, my second major is very interesting to me, so I enjoy those classes. They kind of like fit into the realm of what I would have taken for my electives anyway. So I'm pretty happy with my choices. And like also the major that I picked was kind of like very similar to my core major, to my nursing major. My nutrition major and my nursing major have like a lot of overlap. So a lot of the classes I take for nursing kind of count for nutrition as well. So that makes my life easier. I mean, I've even had space in my schedule to take like random classes. Like I took a drawing class, for example. Like things like that were also possible. So like it's something that you have to think about and like you have to try to envision. And also at the end of the day, like a double major does not make like usually people you end up using like one or the other major. So just because you have two majors, it doesn't like really change your life in like a huge like way. It's just all about your interests and what you envision yourself doing in the future. So like just pick wisely and think about what you really want for yourself is what I have to say.
Right. Okay. Aman, do we have a question? Which question do we want to address next?
Yeah, Anton, can you give me the timestamp of the last question that you answered?
I'm not sure about the exact timestamp, but it should be the one that asked about double major. Okay. Because address, I can just look at the questions that are asked now. Okay. Right. You say okay. A lot of them are kind of following up on the questions that on what we said now. But a lot of the questions that are asked on chat box, like for example, how many credits do you have to take as an international? If you're a double major, do you have to pick before you arrive? Or, you know, credit, like if you take electives or fun classes, does your minor affect your overall results? And I'm very subjective about the school. But the one that's just like many credits most about 2 per semester. And then like for taking classes, does that affect your GPA? I mean, your overall GPA, yes. So when you take classes, fun you should need it or you should want it for something. And just be very cautious. I think, okay, there's also one question that I remember, chat box someone asked, and I think I wanted to save that for like our last sentence. What is the whole college experience like in terms of taking classes? And not like hand in hand, high school, since subjects I think we learned a lot, like 10 subjects, 11 subjects, I don't know, and then like class every day እስከ ማታ 10 ሰዓት ምናምን እንማራለን። So coming to college, you would think በቃ እኔማ ለምጃለሁ 11 ኮርስ እየተማርኩኝ ለዛም በየአይነቱ ፊዚክስ፣ ኬሚስትሪ፣ ባዮሎጂ፣ ማትስ፣ ሂሳብ፣ አማርኛ ምናምን እያልኩኝ ተምሬማ ምን ችግር አለው ምናምን ትላላችሁ። That's not it actually. I mean, you take at most 5 classes every semester እንበል, and you don't even learn every day. And like እንግዲህ ከሰማሁት ከአብዛኛው college experience, you don't learn every day, right? Like you might have classes ሰኞ እና ሮብ, and then ማክሰኞ እና ሐሙስ, and then usually a lot of colleges don't have classes on Fridays, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, ለእኛ እንግዲህ at least Columbia we don't, and a lot of them have that good. So you might think, oh my god, I'm taking like half the classes, I have more time, this should be a cakewalk. It is not. It is not. እንደዛ አይደለም የሚሰራው. So expectation በጣም ይጨምራል. Okay, you have assignments like every day, የሆነ በገባችሁ ቁጥር ይሰጣችኋል. It's not like in the high school ማትስ መጽሐፍ አንድ ይታተምና በቃ like የአዲስ ትምህርት ሚኒስቴር አንድ ያትማል, እሱን አመቱን ሙሉ you're like going at it page by page. No, በጣም surprised ልትሆኑ ትችላላችሁ. You might get into a class and at the first day of class አስተማሪው chapter 1 ሙሉን ጨርሶ ሊወጣላችሁ ይችላል, and then he might give you like I don't know, like የሆነ ages የሚወስድ project ሰጥቷችሁ ሊወጣ ይችላል. እና it's the expectation በጣም ይጨምራል. የሆነ በጣም fast paced ይሆናል learning ማለት ነው, እና the curve በዛው ይጨምራል, like the amount of learning you have to do. Like speaking from my experience, CS major ስጀምር I didn't take CS classes. I was not a CS major in Ethiopia. እና like እጃችሁን ይዞ ኦኬ በቃ አንድ ላይን ኮድ ሲጻፍ እንዲህ ነው የሚላችሁ ሰው የለም. Okay, so they come into the class, ያስተምሯቸዋል, ፕሮጀክት ይሰጣቸዋል, they're on to the next one. You have to catch up. So በጣም እንትን አለው, effect ያደርጋል. እና ይሄንን ሁላ ያነሳሁት a lot of students first year first semester is their lowest grade, and I think that's because you don't really know how to pick your classes yet. በቃ you have በጣም underestimate እናደርገዋለን እንዴ ከኢትዮጵያ መጥቼ ምናምን እንዴ ደግሞ I think የሆነ ካልቸራችንም ስንመጣ ይነገራናል እንዴ ኢትዮጵያ ተማሪዎች እኮ በስማ እዛ ሄደሽማ ሁሉም ነገር ነው ቀለል የሚልሽ ነው እንባላለን. That's a lie. Okay, እንዳትሰሙ እንደዛ. It's gonna take time. So your first semester ላይ በተለይ ክላስ መምረጥ በጣም you have to be smart about it. And now don't just take በቃ እንደ intro to this, intro to that, ኧረ ይሄንንም ልውሰደው ምናምን የሚባል ነገር መኖር የለበትም. Be smart about it. Ask a lot of people. እኔ አሁን ስመጣ when I came to Columbia, እኔ ብሩክ ሄርማ we were like in one batch. ከኛ በላይ ደግሞ we had like እና አማን ከኛ በላይ ነበሩ. So like we had the chance to ask people ምን እንውሰድ, like what do you like, ይሄ ክላስ እንዴት ነው, time ይወስዳል ወይ, እነዚህ የሚሉትን ነገሮች just be very open and have that conversation with the people at your school. I don't know who wants to add on course selection and you know that transition into college life about classes. Is there anyone that wants to add?
I'd like to just add like Radate said, like so ሁሉ they're like እዛ ሄዳችሁ ጭራሽ በቃ like you know እነሱ እኮ ማጥናት አይወዱም እናንተ በቃ ሄዳችሁ ካጠናችሁ ቤት እንዴት እንደምትደርሱ የእንትና ልጅ እኮ በቃ ሰቅሎ ምናምን እንደዚህ ደርሱ. Lies, guys, don't believe that shit. It's definitely going to be hard. It's challenging. Like we're so used to like breaking down small pieces, like taking in small pieces of information, and like every teacher's teaching style is different. I remember freshman year I had to take a class, anatomy and physiology. Y'all, like when we went into the class, the book was this big. And because our teacher, she was like በቃ ዛሬ ጫፏን ይዚችን ተነካት አደረግና ነገ ደግሞ መጽሐፉን ገልብጣ ከኋላ ያለውን ነው የምታወራው. እና for me it was በጣም hard because like that's not how I learned. like እኔ በቃ መጽሐፍ አገላብጬ ከጫፍ እስከ ጫፍ ካላነበብኩት ደስ አይለኝም, just because like you know ለማትሪክም ስናጠና ምናምን እንደዛ ነበረ. እና you have to adjust. like eventually though I had to adjust to her teaching style, and like I ended up like doing fine in that class. But zoro like I'm just saying, like the adjustment, the learning curve is really hard. It's kind of high, like it's steep. sleep. Like you have to adjust as you go, and don't like too hard on yourself. At the end of the day, also grades do not mean everything. Like you will make it if your GPA is not going to be a 4.0. Like, you know, at the end of the day, like your learning experience also really matters. Like having a balance, like school like versus personal life is very important. Although we're like most of us here very bad at that, but just like making sure that you sleep and all of that like really factors in. And not like, I think one really good advice that I've gotten from an upperclassman was within my major was that like she said to me like, I know that I'm capable of getting A's in literally every test, but when I get A's, you can literally see it in my mental health. Like I'm not happy. I'm not doing anything with my friends. I'm just always stressed. She said, I've realized that like for me, a comfortable like aim is like a B+ to like an A- range. I know that like I will still have good grades, but I'll also be happy with my personal life. So at the end of the day, like this is something to, like, to think about. Like that's food for thought for you guys. It doesn't mean that we all implement it. We're terrible at it, but it's a good concept overall. So yeah, that's what I have to say.
Nice. Thank you, Tale. Ashvi, Aman, do you have a question you want to bring up?
Yes. So like if I skip your questions, it's not because it's not good, but I don't know if you guys know about Piazza. Again, it's a forum where students can ask questions about the college application process, and us as mentors collaborate on giving you a concise answer. We're going to send you information about how to join our Piazza page. And now, like abzaኞቹ ጥያቄዎች, they have been answered on Piazza, or would be better answered if you post them on Piazza. Like in the interest of time, we can't get into the nitty-gritty details of all the good questions that you guys are asking. So if I skip it, just make a note of it and ask it on Piazza. We'll send you information about that on the Telegram channel. Again, one question I think we should address is, would the pandemic affect the acceptance rate for us international students የሚል ጥያቄ ተጠይቋል. It's a great question. And I can start on an answer and you guys can add on it. Like መጀመሪያ, we don't know for sure. So like whatever we say, just take it with a grain of salt. Again, the second thing that has been happening, we see the news, we see in the economy, so we might have more than you guys. So Sunny, to disperse right now. Like on universities, they're even hiring like or like janitorial people or like housing ምናምን እንደዚህ አይነት ሰዎችን ፋየር ለማድረግ እየተገደዱ ነው because they don't have enough resources. And with that, like እኛ rely የምናደርገው it's on scholarships. So if they don't have the money to spend, like if they don't have the money in their accounts to like spend on financial aids, it's definitely going to affect the acceptance rate for international students. So like I don't know what the level of like to what level the applications will be affected. Again, I can like predict that there will be an effect next year apply ለሚያደርጉ ሰዎች. Again, like we don't know for sure. Again, definitely financial aid scholarship የመስጠት ምንድነው ኃይላቸውን ይቀንሷል for sure because of what's going on. I don't know if anyone would like to add to it. Also, Milu, welcome.
Yeah, hi Milu. So Mahali, introduce yourself. She's also, you know, one of the CTP New York team members. Mahali, introduce your name, high school, where you went to school here, major, and your role in CTP.
wait, በአማርኛ በእንግሊዝኛ መናገር
በፈለግሽ
ቋንቋ ነው የምናገረው። ሰላም እንዴት ናችሁ? ደህና ናችሁ? ባህሪስ ለሰቀጥ ባላለሁኝ የካናዳ ዩኒቨርሲቲ የቀድሞ ተማሪ ነኝ። በዚህ ዓመት ነው የተመረኩት። ኢትዮጵያ ያለሁኝ ናዝሬት ትምህርት ቤት ነው የተማርኩት እና ከሲቲፒ ጋር ኦልሞስት ላለፉት 5 ዓመታት አብሬ ነበርኩኝ። መጀመሪያ በተማሪነት፣ ከዛ በአስተማሪነት፣ ከዛ ከፕሬዝዳንትነት፣ አሁን ደግሞ ከስልጣኔ ወርጄ በተራ አባልነት እያገለገልኩኝ ይገኛለሁ። አፍንቴ ስለመጣሁኝ በጣም ይቅርታ፣ ግን ጥያቄዎችን ለመመለስ ዝግጁ ነኝ።
Thank you. That was a great intro, Mohali. For going back to the question that Aman answered, I don't think, at least I don't think we can add more to it because minimum Rochelle maybe like I think everyone is kind of confused at the point of figuring out what the admissions what the cycle looks like for next year. And like a lot of which have made SAT optional because it's not being offered a lot of places and not the COVID ምክንያት የተሰጠ ስላልሆነ optional አድርገውታል. We don't know what that means. እንደዛ ደግሞ ሲሆን they have a lot more applicants. ምክንያቱም SAT መውሰድ ስለሌለበት ሰው በሙሉ አፕሊኬሽኑን ሊልክላቸው ይችላል. So they might be more critical of your other parts of your application. And not again any Milachu, like when you apply this year, when you apply to schools that don't require SAT, pay attention to the parts that you do submit. But I'm not know, like transcript to SAT, like if it needed to be strong because you read, I'll make it 2 times stronger. Like I want it now. Transcript everything that you send, recommendation out to strong because SAT required kalora ብዙ ሰው ይልካል and then they're going to be በጣም critical. So I guess that's what I would say in that aspect. Rochelle?
So one thing I want to emphasize is obviously because of all of this our access to like on the SAT testoች ምናምን ይቀንሳሉ አይደለ? ግን the policies that schools are implementing are so different. So what I would suggest that you guys do is at this point, if you know how many schools you're applying to, or if you know which schools you're interested in, come up with like an actual organized list where you write down all the schools, because most of them have, they've posted like, oh, because of COVID-19, what changes are we making? How's the application process going to be different? Most of the schools have addressed those, like either through their websites or through webinars or whatever form it is. So go through each of those. ለምን አንዱን ትምህርት ቤት ፖሊሲ ያውቃለሁ ብላችሁ ሌላውም like SAT አይጠብቀኝም ወይም ይሄን ነገር like it depends on the school. So like try to figure out what each school wants. Some of the schools you might have to take off your list. That's lemon. If some schools are still insisting on policies that you can't do, but like Ethiopia on an busy situation, you might have to readjust this. And it's better to know early on in your process rather than later. So try to come up with an organized way of figuring out what you need to do for each of these schools. And also, like Redit said, emphasize every like part that you actually can focus on that you don't have a barrier to. And like obviously these are essays and all of that, then just like work on those, but make sure you know the policies of each and every school that you plan on submitting an application.
Thank you, Rochelle. Ahmad?
Yes, so this has been asked a couple of times. I will let you guys respond to this. Again, like, are you guaranteed a job after graduation is basically like the question. I know a lot of you have gone through a lot of things with regards to recruiting. Naski, comment on it.
Mahalli, since you just started your job recently, want to speak about this?
እሺ የመጀመሪያው ነገር ሜጀራችሁ ዲፔንድ ያደርጋል ያው የትኛውም ሀገር ቢሆን እና እኔ ፍሮም ኤክስፒሪየንስ እንዳየሁት ከሆነ ቴክ ላይ ኮምፒውተር ሳይንስ የምትማሩ ከሆነ ወይ ኢኮኖሚክስ የምትማሩ ከሆነ በብዛት ብዙ ስራ ያለው ቴክ ውስጥና ባንኮች ውስጥ አይ ቲንክ ባንክ መስራት ኢትዮጵያ ውስጥ ይሄን ግራመር ሲሆነ ስራ አይደለም ግን አፓረንትሊ እዚህ ገንዘብ እንዳለ እዛ ነው ያለው እና ማታ አይነት የባንክ እንትን አለ ኢንቨስትመንት ባንኪንግ ኮንሰልቲንግ ምናምን ነገር እና ለምንድን ነው እነዚህ ቦታዎች ጋር ስራ ማግኘት ቀላል የሆነው አንደኛ ነገር እነዚህ በጣም ትልቅ የሆኑ ካምፓኒዎች ስለሆኑ ኢንተርናሽናል ተማሪ ስፖንሰር ለማድረግ ቪዛ ስፖንሰር ለማድረግ እንትን አላቸው አቅም አላቸው እና በእነዚህ ስራዎች እነዚህ ፊልዶች ላይ የምትማሩ ከሆነ it's not guaranteed like አንዳንድ ሰዎች አሁን እንትን የሚባሉ እነሱ ለስራ የሚመድቧቸው ምናምን ነገር ወይ የሚያገናኟቸው ምንም ሰዎች አሉና that's not how it happens of course ያሳቸው አታርጋችሁ ለማንኛውም ስራ ኢንተርቫጋችሁ ነው የምትገቡት ግን ካየሁት from personal experience ብዙ ሰዎች እነዚህ ነገሮች ላይ ነው ስራ ሲሰሩ የማየው እና by the way speaking of ስራ like even after you get a job like the process is very complicated ምንድነው like ሙሉ በሙሉ እዚህ ሀገር ፐርማነንትሊ ቀርቶ ስራ ለማግኘት ሌላ ፕሮሰስ አለው። ስለዚህ even if you አንዴ ስራ ካገኛችሁ በኋላ like temporary የሆነ ቪዛ አላችሁ ከዛ በኋላ ፐርማነንት ለማድረግ ሎተሪ ምናምን ሲስተም አለው። So even though I just started working, like there's no guarantee that I'm going to be working easy forever ማለት ነው። ሌላው እንትን የምትፈልጉ ከሆነ ምንድነው ሪሰርች ውስጥ መስራት የምትፈልጉ ከሆነ PhD ምናምን ነገር ወደፊት ፕሮግራም መስራት የምትፈልጉ ከሆነ even ከአንደርግራድ ውስጥ ጀምራችሁ like there are opportunities የፕሮፌሰሮቻችሁ ረዳት ሆኖ ለመስራት ምናምን ነገር እና I've also seen people ከተመረቁም በኋላ ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች ውስጥ እዛው የተማሩበት ዩኒቨርሲቲ ወይ ሌላ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ሄደው as a research assistant ሲሰሩ ማለት ነው። ሌላ ምን የሚጨምረው ነገር አለኝ? እና in general like I said like ሙሉ በሙሉ አሜሪካ እንትን ምንድነው citizenship ስለሌላችሁ like generally like they are restrained apply ልታደርጉባቸው ስራ የሚችሉባቸው ቦታዎች ማለት ነው። ሌላ የምጨምሩት ነገር?
I'm glad that you brought up the research thing because that's also a question that was mentioned in the chat box, research opportunities. So you guys can, like a lot of colleges have research opportunities, not only after graduation, but also during your school year. So you could do research. That could be your on-campus job. I know a lot of us have done research. That's why we're all like shaking our heads research. Yeah, so research opportunities are indeed often, but accessible. But like your college usually has a website or some way that you can see what professors are working on. So don't be scared, don't be shy, email them, tell them, hey, my name is this, I just came to this college and I looked at your project, it sounds very interesting. I wanted to be involved and not like put yourself out there, and research opportunities are very often during your school if you want to go to grad school, a lot of recommendations research like professors, it's really gonna help. Okay, Herma also joined. Herma is an instructor, also in the CTP New York team. Herma, can you unmute and introduce yourself? Name, high school, college you go to, major, and role in CTP.
All right. Hi, guys. Sorry I'm late. My name is Herma, and I am a rising senior at Columbia. My major is chemical engineering, and my role in CTP is, well, I'm an instructor in the demystification section, and I'm also the head of CTP careers. Thank you.
Nice. Okay, great. Thank you, Herma. All right. So in the interest of time, we're just going to have like a question and one person answer it, kind of, or try to kind of go about our questions because we're past time. Aman, do we have a question?
There's one that has been asked 2-3 times, so let's address it. ምንድነው ሁሌ ፎከስ እናደርግ ኢንስቲትዩሽኖች ላይ አፕላይ እንድናደርግ ፎከስ የሚደረገው why not public የሚል ጥያቄ አለ. And the short answer is public universities, they give financial aid to like US students but not international students for the most part. እና ያው እዚህ መታችሁ መክፈል በጣም ከባድ ስለሆነ that's why we kind of focus on private institutions who have the money to give scholarships to international students. እና እንደዚህ አይነት ጥያቄዎችን ደግሞ again ፒያዛ ላይ ፖስት ማድረግ ትችላላችሁ. Along this line ራሱ like ሴሽኑ ካለቀ በኋላ እንዴት ነው እናንተን ሪች አውት ማድረግ የምንችለው ተብሎ የተጠየቀም አለ. Again, the best place to reach out to us would be ፒያዛ. አንድ ላይ ሰብሰብ ብለን ስለሆነ የምንመልሳቸው ጥያቄዎችን እዛ ላይ ፖስት ታደርጓቸውን እዛ ላይ ብትጠይቁ you would get a comprehensive response. So we would encourage you to sign up for Piazza. There's one question. Says racism, say something. I don't know where to start. I don't even know how to phrase it. But ከባድ ነገር ነው በዚህ የሆነ በአንድ ደቂቃ በሁለት ደቂቃ ለመመለስ ግን it definitely exists. But it's a huge part of the American experience. መጀመሪያ ታየንም ነበረ ያው እኛ ወደ አሜሪካ መጀመሪያ ስንመጣ የኢትዮጵያዊ ነን like የራሳችን ካልቸር አለን አንዳንዶቻችን እንደውም like we don't even consider ourselves to be African which is very problematic and now like እዚህ ስንመጣ we kind of don't see the problems of the US like racism blah 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 as like our issues ግን ትንሽ ጊዜ በሄደ ቁጥር we understand that this is not like colonialism again it's a huge problem in Africa and like even though Ethiopia it was not I don't want to say it was not an issue it's a huge issue like the results we're still seeing even though we were never conquered and now like safi ጥያቄ ነው I don't know where to start it definitely exists and it's definitely something that a lot of us think about daily I don't know if anyone wants to add to that again yeah ከባድ ነው
I'd like to say a little bit. Like, I think that coming here, one of the biggest culture shocks I had to experience was identifying myself as a Black person. I mean, I've always known I was Black, but it was never like something that was like a big part of my identity that I had to think about that affected my interactions with people, how they perceived me. Like there was a time when by the way, guys, I'm a bit short person. There isn't much to me and now like this one time I was walking at nights when I'm in 8 p.m. like now by the way my ጓደኛ is also short tiny like a bit skinny person and now she's white though and now ሁለታችን ጠፍተን city ውስጥ we just wanted to ask for directions we approached this one lady up when you're first here like you expect someone to say oh you're Black you're not gonna be my friend that's not how it works it's usually like oh like you know what it's like some people but it's kind of a little bit more subtle and it takes time for you to realize like how it really affects your day-to-day interactions like you might go to the grocery store and you might be looking around or like any kind of store and then like the storekeeper like the person who like sells stuff the retail worker meto but ይከታተሏቸዋል ምናምን only because you're Black so there are things like that like you will observe in due time so racism does exist some Ethiopians come here and they say it doesn't exist guys they're liars don't believe them it takes
ዩኒቨርሲቲዎችም ሎኬትድ የሆኑት densely and it's in the east coast of the US ማለት ነው western ብዙ ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች አሉ and those places like you don't see it outright so it's okay it exists like it shows itself in different ways again it's not in your face especially east coast and west coast ግን yeah definitely አንዳንድ ቦታዎች አሉ ግን like this shouldn't discourage you from applying still apply ግን ከዛ በኋላ just try to get an understanding of what you're putting yourself into yeah that's all I can say if anyone wants to add go ahead
I want to add something actually don't apply to like a certain state or a certain area in the US just to like run away from racism like the second day when I came to New York City and I was going to like this bank to open like my bank account or something and then like this old white lady came and she was like a huge Trump supporter and she was like dissing everyone and like this was day 2 like in New York City so I was very very surprised so it pretty much exists like everywhere like granted some states are worse than others and in some states people are more like outright racist than others but it's something that you're going to experience regardless so just don't be afraid to apply to any state in particular
Because like, are there safe spaces in universities for people of the same group, like all Black or all Hispanic dorms and stuff? There are spaces for sure. There are student clubs. አንዳንድ ቦታዎችም አሁን ኮሎምቢያ for instance we have the Malcolm X Lounge, ብዙ ጊዜ ጥቁሮች ሃንጋውት የሚበት ቦታ like ለLGBTQ ምናምን የተለየ ስፔስ አለ like Hispanic ምናምን ብቻ እንደዚህ አይነት ስፔሶች አሉ። I am not sure አንዳንድ ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች ዶርሞች ሊኖራቸው ይችላል ግን I'm not sure how I don't know campuses that we know of.
Okay.
ከዛ ውጪ ደግሞ go ahead Eddie.
Oh, sorry. No, I was gonna ask I don't have to say something, so I was gonna
follow up with what Herman said now. So about racism now also because you got me gonna finish. So there are organizations called Greek organizations or Greek clubs fraternities and sororities, and now probably accept ከተደረጋችሁ በኋላ ኢሜይል ይልኩላችኋል invitation. Now honors fraternity ካልሆኑ I suggest you don't get into them because በጣም መጥፎ ነው። አንደኛ it's based on racism fraternities and sororities በጣም racist culture አለው። ሁለተኛ ነገር it's all about getting drunk, doing drugs. It's not ፖሊስ ሲያደርጉት እንደዛ አይደለም። ሲቀርብላችሁ ሹገር ኮት ተደርጎ ነው ያለው። As a person from Lehigh was took party school in Pennsylvania. Now after that አውቃለሁ the parties are ከማስረዳት ከምችለው በላይ ነው። it's pretty በጣም አስቸጋሪ ነው እንደ ተማሪ ሆናችሁ ማለት ነው እና ሬሲስት ናቸው እና I suggest you don't join them እና ብዙ ጊዜ like join ታደርጉ በጣም ልትገፋፉ ይችላላችሁ እና ከልቤ ነው ይሄን የምናገረው። I cannot stress this enough. እንዳገቡ fraternity እና sorority.
Okay.
One more thing I'd like to add on the subject of fraternities and sororities. Like, yes, there are lots of Greek organizations that exist that have very racist and racist values and like rituals, but also there are business or like other professional like Greek organizations that might be helpful for you. Like I have a couple of friends in those, so like not all Greek life is bad, but like just pick and choose wisely, do your research and see if like that's something like, you know, will help you in the long run and not give you hypothermia sometime because you're doing crazy things with crazy people.
Yeah,
I feel that.
To this, usually fraternity or sorority joins ታደርጉ usually co-ed ከሆኑ like co-ed mostly fraternityዎች ወንድ ብቻ sororityዎች ሴት ብቻ ናቸው እና co-ed እና ሆነው like honors ከሆኑ it's mostly fine ግን እንደዛ ካልሆነ I strongly suggest that you don't join those organizations.
One last thing I'll add just on this is it depends on the school. There are some schools in which, like especially like there are some all Black fraternities and sororities. There are a lot of people that I know who have joined sororities as far as networking capabilities too. And I also know some people where like there's this emphasis on like sisterhood and brotherhood in middle part. And while especially like the big name fraternities or sororities are more focused on like other things like anasyalu, the ones that aren't as famous, there's more of a focus of like trying to find a community too. Again, it depends on each school. Research the culture, talk to the people, and it's like have honest opinions. Just I like there are better ways to spend your time on, but depending on the school you go to, it might also be a source of community where you might not be able to find in other spaces. So just with everything, just research, like actually talk to people and their experiences, and you know, don't brush it all in one stroke, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for oh sorry I was just moving on to the next question because a lot of people are texting saying medicine, like asking about the medicine, but so let's just address that because a lot of people are texting. And you know, I'm gonna put you on the spot for this because So can you talk about, a lot of questions I'm getting them privately and also in the chat is medical school like doable in the US? What are your thoughts on that and stuff like that? So Talay, can you talk about your experience?
Guys, if I had a penny for each time someone asked me this question, I'd be so rich right now. But anyway, so I like personally, and again, like I am not pre-med, I'm not pursuing medicine. That's not what I want to do. But generally when I was applying, when I was in your shoes, I did a lot of research. And I don't know if everyone knows about this, but when you apply, the medical school track is very different from what we're used to. is the medical school bachelor's degree you have to take a track. So basically the track is like a list of classes you need to take, like some like chemistry, bio, lots of classes. There's a long list of classes you take, because again you'll have a major. Because once you finish that, once you finish your degree, you have to take a standardized exam called the MCAT. And then it's a long test, like it's based off like what you've been learning in that track. And then if once you've taken that, then you can apply to medical schools. This is like a very convoluted way of like applying to med school, in my opinion. Again, like disclaimer, this is my opinion and what I've found, but I want to share with you what a college admissions officer said to me when I was like thinking of applying to med school when I was in your shoes. And now like this guy said, I asked him, like I was like, oh, I was thinking about being pre-med, and not like would you advise me to go down that road? And then he said to me, like, honestly, I wouldn't, because as an international student, you are put at a disadvantage, not unless you are like the most accomplished person in the room, unless you are like, you know, your chances of you getting to medical school are very small, because it's not just based on your merits, it's also like people are like the way medical schools work. You know, in med school, they have to spend so much money on their students. It's a lot of resources and time. So they want to make sure that you're able to stay here and serve the community. So they like usually invest in people who are citizens or permanent residents in the United States. So unless you're under those categories, they will like actually like not pick you, you know, like they limit the amount of international students that they take. It's not like undergrad where they want more people from different countries. And he said like, and also funding is like really hard. Medical school is really expensive. I've been told that like you have to pay upfront for the 4 years, which is a lot of money, and a lot of people have to take out loans. And being international students, it's really hard for us to take loans out. And like overall, he said to me, if you get accepted, you're gonna be like the Nelson Mandela of this school. So he was like, if you really want to study medicine, like I would suggest that you stay home, and now you do that. So that was something to think about for me. And like that was something that I would like advise you guys to. If you're really committed to becoming a doctor and that's what you really want, like I think there are really good med schools in Ethiopia Rasu, and that you could focus your attention on them, and then maybe come back here for your residencies or your like fellowships, because there are more opportunities for those tracks than there are for going into med school the way it's designed here. Other options are looking into Europe. I know other people go to the UK or Ireland or even Germany. Like I don't know anyone personally, but like those are other tracks, like avenues to consider. But yeah, overall, like there are some people who get accepted, but they're very exceptional people, and not a lot of people apply, and a lot of people don't get in. And even if you get in, some people have had to decline their offers because they can't afford to attend the institution. So I would just, my personal advice is to just really think about what's important to you and whether or not you're really committed to medicine, and then like pursuing it, like looking for other options instead of like doing the pre-med track and then applying for med schools here.
Thank you, Talay. Okay, in the interest of time, let's take one more question, and then I'd close off by going to every instructor and kind of asking any last minute advice that you would have for our students as they finish like the summer session and as they go into, you know, the application cycle. But let's take one question. Aman, is there one question that you have in mind that we can take?
yeah, I guess ከቲሙ ጋር ትንሽ related የሚሆነው not with the med ግን ከዛ በፊት ከነበረው so someone asked about do you get challenges based on your religion and beliefs because most Western cultures are very weird and too open-minded and see that religion is a barrier to humanity የሚል ጥያቄ አለ እና are there like churches, Orthodox churches, Protestant churches, mosques ምናምን like around universities or like where you live የሚሉ ጥያቄዎች አሉ ረዴት ለምን አንቺ አትመልሽም?
All right. Thank you for putting me on the spot. All right. So the one thing that I'm ልነግራችሁ የምፈልገው ነገር ቀድም አሮን mention አድርጎታል. I mean there will be a culture shock and that truth like ሁሉም ሰው እንደኛ አይደለም you know I think we grew up Ethiopia in a bubble like በቃ we knew በጣም a certain type of culture. I'm sorry, I'm gonna mute and then unmute everyone. Okay. Yeah. So ሁላችንም እንዳደግነው አይደለም everyone ያደግነው everyone has different experiences. So one thing you really need to grasp here is that sometimes you have to be open-minded. You can't attack like a person for having different beliefs than you. Like እንደዚህ ከእናንተ የተለየ አስተሳሰብ ስላለው ወይም ህይወት lifestyle ስላለው you can't attack other people. And not like colleges do take these things very seriously. በጣም ማለት ነው. Like if you do make another student uncomfortable about their own lifestyle, about their own life choices, the school will intervene. በጣም seriously ነው የሚያዩት. ስለዚህ you have to be very like እናንተም you have to be accepting because የመጣችሁት obviously እኛ ኢትዮጵያውያን ነን ግን imagine like for us አሁን ለምሳሌ ኒውዮርክ ላለ ነው ኒውዮርክ is like the hub በቃ በጣም የሆነ የአሜሪካ hub ተብሎ ከስንት ቦታ ነው የሚመጣው ሰው so it's illogical to expect that everyone would have the same lifestyle, the same choices, the same religion that you have. ስለዚህ እናንተም you have to be open-minded. የራሳችን at the same time ለእናንተም that applies. They make sure, at least a lot of colleges do pride themselves on like making sure that no one እናንተንም attacks you for your lifestyle. ስለዚህ እናንተም you're free to choose your own lifestyle. ገባችኋል? Like for the question I guess like hand in hand like are there churches religion like where I can practice my religion? Yes, ሞልተዋል. It's I guess like Ethiopian specific churches in the mode like you can ask Ethiopians at your school. I'm pretty sure a lot of us have discovered our own churches and our place of worship by now. ግን ልላችሁ የፈለኩት እናንተም ልክ ማክበር እንዳለባችሁ ለሌላ ሰው እንደምትጠበቁት እነሱም they expect them to do the same for you. ስለዚህ ከኢትዮጵያ መጣችሁ like religious experience እናንተ religious experience ወይም ደግሞ አስተሳሰባችሁ as long as you're not harming anyone እናንተንም መጥቶ ማንም ሰው ሊናገራችሁ አይችልም. So you have to keep all of these in mind. But ልላችሁ የምፈልገው you just can't like walk up to a person and be like አንተ እንደዚህ ታደርጋለህ እንዴ አንቺ እንደዚህ ታደርጋለሽ እንዴ ምናምን like it's እንደ ኢትዮጵያ እንደምንተራረበው ምናምን ነገር አይደለም. That does not fly here. Just keep that in mind. Like you can't walk up to a person and just attack them for their choices even in like a joke manner because like you could legit get expelled for this. So እነዚህ ነገሮች just keep that in mind. I'm pretty sure y'all can add to this, but yeah, another person መጨመር የምትፈልጉ ካለ unmute yourselves. I muted everyone. Lisa. Okay. If there's no one else that wants to add, all right. So I just want to go around and ask everyone like last minute tips. Your tips could be something you wish you'd known when you applied. It could be something that like hand in hand pandemic ብዙ ነገር ቀይሯል። ስለዚህ በሱም ላይ አዲስ like any insight that you want to give to our students again as they enter the application cycle, something that you want to like tell our students. So I'll start with Debbie because you're so any last minute tips you have or advice for our students?
I guess what I would say is I'm just gonna equal like things that I said before, like because they were like very important points. try to tell a story. Like it has to be like one story. You're just telling a story about yourself. You know, like across all the application. Volunteer activities, the things that you list out there, your recommendations, like the things that are said about you, the comment up essay. It should be like የእናንተ ፋይል ተቀምጦ ከሌሎች ጓደኞቻችሁ ጋር ቢቀመጥ, and like if a person like የእናንተን application ለአንዱ ሰው ብትሰጡ, that person should say, oh, አንተ ነህ. Like this is like talking about you. Like it has to be unique in that kind of way. So try yeah, just it's one story that you're telling, like so like be holistic in that kind of sense. And like for me, like I took a gap here, and like if you are on that kind of course, it's okay, like you can do it again. Yeah, I guess that's what I would say.
Great. Rochelle?
Okay. Debbie kind of took mine. I was going to emphasize like on authenticity and a single story too. But basically just I'll add a little bit onto his, and then I can talk about something else. But when we talk about story, what we mean is it's not about just your major, but what is your big why? Like, why do you want to not just like pursue education or anything in this particular institution? Again, why are you doing any of this? Like, is your purpose of just like, do you want to get a job just to get money or something? You can't tell the schools exactly that, even if it's a reason. I don't know. So you have to figure out like one team, like this is a thing that motivates me in life. This is a thing I want to pursue. And this is why my extracurriculars are this. This is why I want to major in this. This is why, like, you know, one team, one story. I mean, Manila is like find a why and try to center it around that. Because while we are very like complicated humans who want like a lot of different things, like college application is a bit simplified version of like a story that you can tell. You can't put all of yourself into this one paper, so you have to pick a particular focus and then talk about just that. And then I was going to answer one of the questions that I saw in the text as my last thing. I'll try to keep it short, but it said something about like, is it worth it to go to America? Like, what's something that's motivating you and keeping you going, being away from friends and all of that? I think at the central core of it, going to college, like as different as it is like going here and going to Ethiopia, it's like a self-discovery. This is the first time you're going to be like away from, at least for most people, away from their family, living on their own or living with like people our own age. And it's a time where you need to figure out like, what do you want out of life? What am I interested in? What am I like education as a career? It's like a way to figure out yourself. And yes, you'll be away from all friends and all family, but this is your chance to meet new people, to make new experiences. And, you know, this is a part of your life where you take that next step. And as different as it is in some cultural aspects, I think that the growth that you go through, like on Ethiopia, it's also very like the things that you will be exploring about yourself at least. Which yeah, right.
You are on mute, Radix, if you said something.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay, Arun.
Actually, I cannot say a motivational thing, Rochelle, I can say a bunch of things. የመጀመሪያና ዋነኛው ብለው there is nothing universal. እያንዳንዱ ኮሌጅ የራሱ ስፔሲፊክ ነገር አለው እና ዩዥሊ ብዙ ሰው እኔም ያኔም ስጠይቅ የነበረው በጣም ብዙ ሰው ስጠይቅ ማስቸግረው አሁንም ማየው ነገር ዩዥሊ እንደዚህ ባረግ ምን ያክል ቶፍል ስኮር ነው የሚያስፈልገኝ፣ ምን ያክል ኤስኤቲ ነው የሚያስፈልገኝ፣ ምንድነው ማድረግ ያለብኝ? So there is nothing universal. እያንዳንዱ ኮሌጅ የራሱ ፕራዮሪቲ ያለው እያንዳንዱ ኮሌጅ like some colleges ኤስኤ ከኤስኤቲ ስኮር በላይ ወይም ያደርጋሉ። አንዳንዶቹ ደግሞ ኤስኤቲ ግሬድ ብቻ በጣም ይፈልጋሉ። ለምሳሌ ካልቴክ ምናምን ብታየው ሚነርቫ ምናምን በጣም እንትን የሚሉት አካደሚክ ሰክሰስ ነው። አንዳንድ ቦታ ደግሞ there is a thing called holistic approach ሁሉንም ነገር ነው የምናየው ይላሉ። so there is no universal thing ለዚህ ነገር እና that's one thing እያንዳንዱ ነገር ሪሰርች አድርጎ ማየት በጣም ኢምፖርታንት ነው ብዬ አስባለሁ እና ያን ነገር ባክ መጀመሪያ ላይ በጣም ይጠቅም ብዬ ነበር አስባለሁ። ሁለተኛ ነገር መጠየቅ is actually a very good thing ሰዎችን ብቻ like የምታውቁትን ሰው ብቻ ሳይሆን አድሚሽንስ ካውንስለሮችን ጋር ከነሱ ጋር ኮንታክት እንዲኖራችሁ ማድረግ they're very good people they want to help ስራቸው እንደዛ ነው as far as I know ለሰዎች ኢሜል መመለስ እና like አፕሊኬሽኖች ሪቪው ማድረግ ሰዎችን መርዳት ነው እና እነሱ መታወቅ like beforehand ምናምን ኤክስትሪምሊ ጠቃሚ ነው ብዬ አስባለሁ እና እንደዛ ነው። ሁለተኛ ነገር ለምሳሌ አድሚሽን ካውንስለሮችን ስታናግሩ ለምሳሌ አንድ ሲናሪዮ ልፍጠርና አጭር ጊዜ ለማስረዳት ለምሳሌ ዌብሳይታቸው ላይ ፊቸርድ የሆነ ኒውስ ምናምን ሊኖር ይችላል የትምህርት ቤቱ ላይ የሆነ ፊቸርድ የሆነ ሪሰርች አርቲክል ሊኖር ይችላል ያንን አንብባችሁ እንደዚህ ኢንትረስትድ ነኝ ልትሉ ይችላላችሁ እንደዚህ መጣ እንደዚህ አይነት ኦፖርቹኒቲ ሊኖረኝ እንደዚህ ላይክ necessarily ጥያቄ ኖራችሁ ሳይሆን መጠየቅ ያለባችሁ like ኮንታክት መፍጠር ከአድሚሽን ካውንስለሮች ጋር you have to befriend them እና that's the one thing ሁለት ነገሮችን ባክ ሶስተኛና ዋነኛ ነገር beyond time አጥኑ ለሴቲ እና ሁሉንም ነገር ፕላን ተደርጎ መስራት በጣም ወሳኝ ነው ብዬ አስባለሁ it's very important.
Sorry, let me go next. My battery is about to die. So,
yeah. Okay, go.
Okay, one thing that I definitely want to mention and something we keep forgetting every time CTP is how to deal with rejections. I'm like we had around 200 students in total and beginner and like also in section 1 and section 2 and chances are because those maybe only like 10% of you might end up getting accepted, which means like 90% of you will probably get rejected. Like this is I'm not trying to be like pessimistic again, that's kind of what happens. And we also have to address like what happens. Okay, what happens if you get rejected? What are we supposed to do? I would say like don't take rejections personally. Like there's both ways of like looking at things. First of all, especially now with all like the whole coronavirus thing going on and colleges having a very low number of places for like international students, you might have everything perfect. Your essays might be perfect, your grades might be perfect, your SAT scores might be perfect, but all of the 10 schools or all of the different schools that you apply to might reject you. That doesn't mean it was something because you are lacking something. It just means maybe the schools that you apply to had very low spots, like very few spots for students. Like if they really show you the statistics, that probably like 1,000 international students applied and they only took in like 2 students with full financial aid. And especially as students, as international students that require full financial aid, you're at a very huge disadvantage already. So like they tell you it's a 10% acceptance rate, but not really. Like for students who are requiring full financial aid, it's probably like much less than 1% acceptance rate with us. So all of these things, you need to keep them in mind. Like when you do get like, if you do get rejected, it's not because you were like so bad at something. It was because like colleges have like there's so much they can do. There's so many students they can apply, they can accept. So there's that one part. And secondly, even if you like, sometimes it's also like not bad to take things personally, you know. Like I know people keep telling you, oh, don't take it personally, but sometimes like if you get rejected and oh, maybe it's because you had like bad writing skills, right? Okay, then just take it as an opportunity to improve your writing skills. Or it's because you have some things like some parts of your application reading limit phoning or like writing limit for konachu, it's just take it as an opportunity for growth, you know. Like rejections, like they're going to American colleges is really not the end of like it's not where you achieve success, right? Like first of all, you can do it again. You can definitely like if you get rejected now, you can do it next year and you can do it 3 years. I know students who've done it 3 or 4 years and have been accepted on the 4th year, starting from Asra and then they take one gap year and then another gap year, every time improving, every time getting rejected like before the last time. So please like know how to deal with rejections, right? It's really not the end of the world. I know it's like the you still get like medicine or something like that. But here it's like an all or nothing situation. So it might seem, wait, everything that I've worked on for the past 7 months is for nothing, but it's not. Like if you really think about it, you've learned a lot. You've improved like all your writing skills, your reading skills, and you've kind of grown in a whole lot of different ways. Plus, you can use those experiences to apply again if you want to, or even to pursue your own things in while still learning in Ethiopia. So that's one. And the second one is maybe not as important, but I also think it's something that we miss. Start as early as you can on your applications. Start early, finish early. It's something that I wish I would have I had listened initially, and I was like, please, everyone, start early on your essays, on your exams, on your asking for recommendations, on all parts of the application. Start early, because if you don't start early, you'll probably end up being rushed at the end, and rushed applications are never good. Yeah, so start early, finish early. That's basically it.
Thank you, Brooke. Oh, yeah, I'm not muted. Okay, thank you, Brooke. Is she Aman?
ብሩክ ነጠቀኝ መጨረሻ ላይ ልሰጠው የነበረውን አድቫይስ which is start early. አሁን በተለይ እንደዚህ ኮቪድ ነው፣ ትምህርት ቤቶች ተዘግተዋል፣ አብዛኛችሁን ጊዜ የምታሳልፉት ቤት ነው. So really you don't have a lot of excuses to not start early. November December January do ለሆነ application, this is the time where you should really በደንብ ሁሉንም ነገራችሁን ፕላን አድርጋችሁ ኤሲያችሁን መጻፍ ጀምራችሁ ሬኮሜንዴሽን ሌተራችሁንም ማንን ማጻፍ እንደምትፈልጉ ፕላን የምታደርጉበት ጊዜ አሁን ነው። ስለዚህ ይሄንን ጊዜ በደንብ ተጠቀሙበት። በኋላ አሁን ወደ ዲሰምበር ጃንዋሪ ላይ የሆነ ታህሳስ ጥር ነው አፕሊኬሽኖች ዩዥሊ ዲዩ የሆኑት። የዛን ጊዜ ደግሞ ክላስ ካላችሁ ፋይናል ሰሞኑ ዩዥሊ በአብዛኛው ወጭ ሪቪው ያስደርጋችሁ አድቫይስ መጠየቅ ልትፈልጉ ትችላላችሁ። እነዚህ ሁሉ ነገሮች በጣም ጊዜ የሚያስፈልጋቸው ነገሮችና በጣም አዳፕ ታይም ኮንሱሚንግ የሆኑ ነገሮች ናቸው። እና ኦክቶበር ላይ ተነስታችሁ ኦኬ በቃ አሁን ወስኛለሁ የሚቀጥለውን አንድ ወር በደንብ ታይም አሎኬት አድርጌ አፕሊኬሽንን ጨርሳለሁ ምናምን is not a good strategy. አሁን ነሐሴ ነው። I know classes are going to resume soon. Again, you have enough time to at least come up with a game plan. Ahun bezi academic year na apply madergo January just come up with a list of colleges that you want to apply to. Deadline achon besrat list out adergu, application requirement achon bedem besrat list out adergu. Kaza just come up with a plan of attack ahun class kamejemerachu befit. And now starting early is extremely important. And not tzenagu that's all I posted. Encourage you to post your questions on Piazza, and again start early, start today, start tomorrow, don't give it time. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, Aman. All right, Talay?
Okay. አማን እና ብሩክ በጠቅላላ ላችሁ የነበረው ነገር ወሰዱብኝ፣ ግን ችግር የለም። I was taking notes. So like Aman just said, honestly, deadlines are not start dates. I think but one of our biggest issues is oh እስከዛ ድረስ ጊዜ ያለኝ ምናምን ብለን እናስብና ከዛ በኋላ በጣም እንዘናጋለን. You don't want to rush through this. This is a process that requires a lot of focus, a lot of attention, and a lot of work. So just make sure that you start as early as you can. It's never too early to start doing this. Keep, like Aman said, keep a list of all the deadlines and requirements of each school. Pay attention to what the requirements are. Don't be afraid to reach out to admissions counselors. Just reach out to admissions officers. Reach out to them if you have any questions. Ask. just ask it in a respectful manner. Watch that video that Herma put out about how to effectively communicate, and use those skills to effectively communicate your needs, your questions. They're so willing to answer your questions. And again, like one thing I'd like to add is, like, when you're writing your supplement essays, don't make it generic. Don't make a supplement essay for all the schools you're like applying to. Make sure that you do your research and it shows. Like, colleges will appreciate it if like you drop facts, like interesting like tidbits that you've learned about them that like drew you to their school, like whether it be a specific program or major, or like the accomplishments of like their students, or like a professor, or like maybe even the values that they have at that school. Show them that you did your research so that they know that, like, you know, you're not just applying to apply. And then proofread, especially coming up into an application. I made so many stupid spelling mistakes. Guys, don't do that. Like, proofread everything you send in. Like, even have another person read it for you, because sometimes grammar mistakes so proofread everything. And if you're taking the SATs, start practicing early. Aaron has kind of touched on this, but like, set aside some time to practice every day. This is like a work in progress. It's not something that you're gonna get good at overnight. It's not like something that like magically just like, you know, you do better on. So practice, and it will show in your work. And then finally, like Brooke said, rejections do not define your worth. Like, most of us here have like, except like especially if you apply regular decision, you will definitely see, like, you will probably see some form of rejection. So it doesn't exactly reflect on you. Like Brooke said, it might be an aspect of your application that you need to work on. Maybe your essays are a little weak. Maybe you need to work on your writing. Maybe your SAT grade wasn't that great. Or almost sometimes maybe the admissions officer wasn't having a good day when they looked at your application. There's so many factors that go into this application process, and like, even for life, this is a really good lesson to learn, that like rejections like will happen. Not every door you knock on will open for you. And just take as many lessons as you can from that experience and use it to propel yourself forward. It's not the end of the world if you don't get into a US college. Like, you have options. So yeah, just like I'd like you guys to focus on that.
Thank you, Talay. Herma?
Yeah, I might sound like a broken record because everyone mentioned some really good points, but 4 things that I just want to iterate or reiterate, depending on whether or not they've been said. First thing, obviously, start early and be organized. A rushed application shows, like, it's not even something that you can hide. It's not something that you can put together and be like, I spent a lot of time on this. Like, it shows very, very well. And not like, you guys want to make sure that you give yourself some space and to actually present the best work that you can, because a lot of times if you face rejection, one of the first things that you think about is, did I actually like give my 100% on this? And if you did, if you started early, if you did everything right, then in that regard, at least so start early and be organized. Like, the college application process is a messy process. It's like 8 different things going on at the same time. You have all of these deadlines to balance out, like so many things going on. So try to find a method that works for you. Like, if it's on your laptop, having like a bunch of folders for each of, you know, SATs, financial aid, use that. If you're doing things on paper, like, organize yourselves, color code things. I don't know what you do, like what works for you. Try to find a way to organize yourself and write down like your like what you're going to do for a specified day, because this isn't one of those things that you can't do without like organizing yourself. Second thing, develop a plan and be flexible. Whenever you start anything, just like sit down with a like blank sheet of paper, chart paper, whatever works for you. Like, write down everything you have to do. Break it down by day, by week, by month, whatever like timeline you have, and not stick to it. Like, this is like, you have one shot at this, or I guess like if you try again next year, again, like you have for this year, this is your only chance, and this is literally all you have to do, Manaf now. So I know it's gonna be like painful at some part. Like I remember when I was applying for my college essays, I was so overwhelmed at some point, like everyone went through this. But whenever you have like a specific plan that you can actually follow through with, that like reduces a lot of the anxiety that comes about when a lot of these deadlines come to start to roll up. And by be flexible, what I mean is, especially right now, like things are getting canceled. All of a sudden, colleges are like, okay, SATs don't really matter anymore, or like something along the lines over the next couple of months. So if things start to change, just like, you know, take a step back, think about the effect that this has on the larger application, and not just like adjust your plan and like go forward. Like don't like get caught up in something. You really like, this is a very like short process to begin with, just recover from it and then go straight to work. Third thing is what I want to like really stress is your college application is a portfolio. It's not a single piece of paper. It's like the best analogy that I want to kind of like give you guys is a tree, pretty much. So a tree has like different branches, and each of those branches has like different parts. If you mention something on one part of your essay, try to use another part of your application to show something else about yourself. Don't like repeat the same thing. Oh, I mean, granted, like you want to show how things like kind of like come together, but at the same time, like you want to show yourself as this like well-balanced, holistic person with, you know, various interests here and there. And that's like something Americans just love this. Like they love the word holistic, and not like if you do want to go to a college that tells you how to be a holistic person, show them that you're a holistic person. If you show in one part of your essay, and if your Common App is based on like your amazing like humanitarian work to help kids get education, yeah, like you write about that. You can mention it in one of your supplemental essays, but all 4 of the supplemental essays shouldn't be based on that. So really try to show multiple aspects of your personality and who you are as a student. The 4th thing, and I mentioned this, guys, double check everything. Like anything that you're gonna send to another person, admissions officer lihoni shalal, CTP instructor, mentor lihoni shalal, Common App submit, every single thing. When you think you're ready to submit, double check again. Like there's so many small little things that you miss here and there, and not like it's so easy for these people who already have such a like large pool of applicants waiting to be accepted. They can just use that against you. They can be like, this person doesn't really pay close attention to this important thing, and just like be like, all right, so really double check everything. And then second thing along the lines of that is get feedback, which really helps you with this whole double checking thing, because in Manta, like you spend so much time just like working on this application, and this is especially true for essays. You spend a lot of time just looking at it that sometimes you just miss stuff, and it's not your fault. Like everyone does this. So try to get as many eyes as possible on your essay before you submit the final thing. Really, guys, like try to get feedback from multiple different types of people, not just your friends. It could be CTP mentors, your teachers, professors, parents, even if you're really like close to your parents like that. Like try to get as many eyes as possible in this whole thing. So yeah, those are the 4 things that I would like to mention. But last thing, really guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your mental health, be the best version of you to get through this. This is not really a sprint, like it's such a hard process. So try to find breaks in between and recharge yourself, so that like the next time you come and do it, you're like, okay, I got this, like you really put out the best work. So the odds are very like hard, but you got this, guys. Not good luck with it.
Thank you. Oh, am I muted? No. Okay, thank you, Herma. That was great. Bini?
አንድ ይቅርታ ኢንተራክት ማድረግ እፈልጋለሁኝ። ያልተመለሱላችሁ ጥያቄዎች ካሉ ስቲል ቻት ላይ እየመለስኩኝ ነው። ስለዚህ ጀስት ፖስት እና ሪፕላይ አደርጋለሁ የማያውቁ ሰዎች ካሉ።
Yeah, that's why I'm saving you for last, because I saw you were answering. So አልጠራሽም እስካሁን። ቢኒ?
ኦኬ እሺ እኔ ለያሰብኩት ጠቅላላ ነገር ተብሏል ግን I guess recommendations ላይ even recommendation double checking የተባለው ላይ recommendationአችሁንም double check አድርጉት አስተማሪውን የጻፈው ብላችሁ ዝም ብላችሁ እንትን አትበሉ especially if you have access to it ማለት ነው so እሱ አንድ ነው ሌላ ነገር አንድ ሪሶርስ ሜንሽን ማድረግ የሚፈልገው CTP ብሎግ ፖስት አሉ ላይክ ዌብሳይታችንና ቴሌግራም ቻናላችን ላይ so እነሱ ምንድነው ላይክ የCTP ሜምበሮች personal experienceአቸው ኮሌጅ አፕሊኬሽን ላይ ስለተለያዩ ቶፒኮች የጻፏቸው ናቸው from like dealing with rejections to application management so እሱን definitely ያቸው plus አሁንም አመቱም ሲጀምር በየሳምንቱ እነሱን አፕዴት ማድረጋችን ስለማይቀር እሱ ላይ በጣም ብዙ ኢንፎርሜሽኖችን ቲፖችን ማግኘት ትችላላችሁ I guess ያ ነው basically ሌላ ያሰብኩት ነገር ጠቅላላ ስለተባለ መደጋገም ነው
Thank you so much Bini ሚሉ
ሁሉም ሰው ተናገረ Okay sure so መጀመሪያ what did I do okay so መጀመሪያ ሼር ማድረግ የምፈልገው there are some things that I did በጣም ያረዱኝ አንደኛው ነገር ምንድነው SAT መፈተን እና ስለ SAT ማሰብ ጀመርኩት ከ11ኛ ክፍል ጀምሮ ነው እና of course አሁን በኮሮና ምክንያት ምናምን ነገር this might not be relevant ግን ለወደፊት ሊጠቅማችሁ ይችላል እና like I took SAT subject test እና TOEFL 11ኛ ክፍል ያለሁኝ I did okay TOEFL ላይ ግን I messed up on the SAT subject test ከዛ በኋላ 12ኛ ክፍል እንደገና ተመልሼ ለመፈተን I got the chance እና I would highly recommend like ቀድማችሁ ቴስቲንግ መዘጋጀት ብትሞክሩ like ብዙ ሰው 12ኛ ክፍል ከገባ በኋላ ነው መዘጋጀት ማጥራት ምናምን ነገር የሚፈልገውና ቀድማችሁ ግን የምትፈተኑ ከሆነ even if the exam is like really hard and it is like ለብዙ ኢትዮጵያዊ ተማሪዎች like it will give you the time ለመዘጋጀት አንድ አመት ሙሉ አጥንታችሁ የምትዘጋጁ ከሆነ I also remember ረዲት 11ኛ ክፍል ያለች በቃ ቁጭ ብላ ምሳ ሰዓት ላይ SAT ጥያቄ ስትሰራ ነበር የምትውለውና በኋላ ለካ 12ኛ ክፍል ገብታ ስትፈተን ነቀነቀችኝ ነው ስለዚህ even if something is hard like don't be discouraged like time ተሰጣችሁ you do great even 12ኛ ክፍል ለምሳሌ ተፈተናችሁ በዚህ አመት ውጤት ካልመጣ the good thing about SAT is like እንደ ማትሪክ አንዴ በህይወታችሁ ተፈተናችሁ that's it አይደለም like ደግማችሁ መፈተን ትችላላችሁ so next year ጋር ወስዳችሁ በደንብ ተዘጋጅታችሁ መፈተን ትችላላችሁ ስለዚህ I highly recommend that and ሁለተኛ ነገር okay so this is just my personal opinion I might be biased or አላቅም ግን አፕላይ በምታደርጉበት ጊዜ ማለት ነው አፕላይ like አፕሊኬሽናችሁ ብቻ ሳይሆን አፕላይ የምታደርጉበት ዩኒቨርሲቲ ራሱ it depends ለምሳሌ አንዳንድ ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች ብዙ ኢንተርናሽናል ተማሪዎች ይወስዳሉ ኢንተርናሽናል ብቻ ሳይሆን ከኢትዮጵያ ብዙ አድሚት የሚያደርጉ ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች አሉ like there's a reason why ሲቲ ውስጥ በጣም ብዙ ዩኒቨርሲቲ ተማሪዎች አሉ it's because Columbia takes a lot of people ከኢትዮጵያ ማለት ነው እና like ለምሳሌ ኮሎምቢያም ፕሪንስተንም like ሁለቱም አይቪ ሊግ ስኩል ናቸው ተመሳሳይ ስታንዳርድ ላይ ያላቸው ግን generally ኮሎምቢያ consistently 3 ተማሪ 4 ተማሪ በየአመቱ ይወስዳል which is huge ከሌሎች ዩኒቨርሲቲዎች ፕሪንስተን ግን በ3 አመት አንዴ በ4 አመት አንዴ አንድ ሰው ገባ ሲባል ሰማለሁ ስለዚህ do your research እና የትኛው ዩኒቨርሲቲ ነው ጥሩ ብዙ ኢትዮጵያኖች የሚቀበሉት የሚለውን ሪሰርች ከሰራችሁ like it will increase your chances like same application ኖሯችሁ like Columbia እና Princeton apply ብታረጉ again this is my personal view ግን I feel like you have more chance of getting into Columbia like እኔ ትምህርት ቤቴን ለመሸጥ ምናምን ነገር ሳይሆን I'm not trying to sell my school it's just Columbia accepts a lot of Ethiopian students ስለዚህ like be very strategic ብዙ ተማሪ የት እንዳለ አይታችሁ አፕላይ ለማድረግ ሞክሩ ሌላኛው ሶስተኛው ብዙ ሰው ተናግሮታል your SAT scores they are really important ግን ለምሳሌ ስኮራችሁ መጥፎ ከሆነ you're guaranteed rejected እንደምትሆኑ ስኮራችሁ ጥሩ ከሆነ ግን you're not guaranteed accepted እንደምትሆኑ እንደዚህ ብላችሁ አስቡት like ስኮራችሁ ጥሩ ከሆነ it's kind of like okay the rest of your application review ለማድረግ እንትን ይሰጣቸዋል ምንድነው ቻንስ ታገኛላችሁ ግን እናንተ ለምሳሌ በጣም ጥሩ ውጤት አግኝታችሁ ከ600 ወደ ብታረሙ like 1550 ምናምን ብታመጡ like that's great that's amazing ግን if the rest of your application is meh like you're going to get rejected ምክንያቱም like a lot of other people also like 1550 ይዘው apply የሚያደርጉ ሰዎች አሉ ስለዚህ I think that's what mistake that I made like I was so focused on like doing so great እንትኔ ላይ ምንድነው SAT ፈተናዬ ላይ I didn't spend that much time application essay ላይ እና I literally wrote it like እሁድ ሆኖ ምንድነው ሰምት የሚደረገው አርብ ዕለት ምናምን ነው መጻፍ የጀመርኩት እና like አሁን ሳስበው ራሱ በጣም ይሰቀጥጠኛል የሰራሁት ስራ እኔ like በመብራን ጥበብ ነው የገማሁት like that's just a big no like አንድ እንትን ሲቀረው 3 ቀን ሲቀረው essay መጀመር በጣም ትልቅ ድፍረት ነውና like spend time. And again, ሌላ መምከር የምፈልገው ነገር like በጣም ብዙ ነገርኛ ስናወራ like it might be overwhelming አይደለ? like writing essays ምናምን ነገር like ከዚህ በፊት essay ጽፋችሁ ማታውቁ ከሆነ ስለዚህ እንደዚህ አይነት ማታውቋቸው like outside of your comfort zones እንድታደርጉ የሚጠይቋቸው ሲቹዌሽኖች ሲኖሩ like the best way of handling that is not like putting it off till the last minute እና 2 ቀን ሲቀረው መጻፍ ሳይሆን essay ለምሳሌ ኖርማሊ ማጽፉ ጎበዝ ካላችሁ it's fine አስቀድማችሁ ጀምራችሁ ከዛ ላይ try to get like as many feedback as possible እኛ በሙሉ እዚህ ያለነው ሰዎች አሉ ሌሎች ሰዎችም ask them for advice እና like በአንድ weekend ላይ ከምትሰሩት in small chunks ለብዙ ወራት አብራችሁ ስትሰሩት like የተሻለ ውጤት ታገኛላችሁ and also essay review ስታስደርጉ already like ኮሌጅ ተማሪ የሆነ ሰው ስለ application process የሚያውቅ ሰው ነው እንጂ ገና ለገና ወይ ሰውዬ እንግሊዘኛ ጥሩ ችሎታ አለው or ደግሞ አሜሪካን ሀገር ነው የሚኖረው ምናምን ብላችሁ like they don't know እነዚህ ሰዎች like ኮሌጅ አሲዎች ምን አይነት essay expect እንደሚያደርጉ አያውቁ እና like ግራመሩ ምናምን ነገር አይተውላችሁ ብቻ ሊመልሱላችሁ ይችላሉ or እነሱ like structurally ምናምን ነገር እንትን ሊሰጣችሁ ይችላሉ ግን of course like the grammar is important like don't get me wrong but at the same time like grammar ጊዜ ቢያምር ይሄ የስነ ጽሁፍ competition አይደለም like you need to tell a story right ስለዚህ የሚያቅሰው ብታሳዩ በጣም ደስ ይለኛል እና like ብሩክ እንዳለው like if you get rejected the first time around story fine ብሩክም በኋላ ጋፕ ይዞ ነው የመጣው እነ ዴቪም እነ ቢኒም ስለዚህ like it's possible ግን like the first time rejected ስትሆኑ like ተስፋ ከምትቆርጡ like እንደገና ደግማችሁ የምትሰሩ ከሆነ you can get it እና like አሁን like the last point that in this ምንድነው አስረግጬ መናገር የምፈልገው ነገር ምንድነው you might be like አሁን ሳልተጨማለቁም እንዴ ምንድነው እዚህ ጋር ይሄን ሁሉ essay ጽፌ ከዛ ይሄን ሁሉ ፈተና ተፈትኜ ምናምን ነገር ግን this is a huge opportunity ለምሳሌ ኮሎምቢያ በአመት like tuition $80,000 ነው ስለዚህ በአራት አመት ስትቀመጡ እናንተ ላይ 320,000 ብር ነው 320,000 ብር ነው ኢንቨስት ያደረጉት $320,000 ቅርታ ብር አይደለም ኢንቨስት ያደረጉት ስለዚህ አስበሽው like የተወሰኑ ፈተናዎች ተፈትናችሁ 1 2 3 4 essay ጫር አድርጋችሁ then you're going to get like $320,000 like that is huge that is an opportunity of a lifetime ስለዚህ አንድ ሰመር ቁጭ ብላችሁ ማጣት ካለባችሁ አጥኑ በቃ እኔ በጣም እንትን ምንድነው ስንፍና አለብን እንደ ሀገር ደረጃ እና በቃ አንድ ወር ማጥናት ካለባችሁ አጥኑ ግን this is an opportunity of a lifetime እና even ከኮሎምቢያ graduate ካረጋችሁ በኋላ like that privilege like ተከትላችሁ ነው የሚሄደው እና if you guys want to talk to me ወይም ሌሎቻችንም CTP ምንድነው Facebook ፔጃችን አለ ኢሜል አድሬሳችን አለ personal contact information አችን አለ ስለዚህ if you have questions ask us ግን like ለምሳሌ essay review አድርጊልኝ ብትሉኝ like I will help you ግን መታችሁ እስኪ መሀል 200 ወርድ ጻፊልኝ ነው that's not gonna work ግን እናንተ ስራውን ከሰራችሁ like I will help you ስለዚህ እናንተ እርዱን እኛ እንድንረዳችሁ that's what I want to say thank you so much attend ስላደረጋችሁ ይሄንን session
That was dope. Thank you so much, really. That was amazing. I'm just going to close off with 3 things. Number 1 is I'm not going to say a lot of things because everyone has said like I don't know I have written down like the tips from Instructor so I'll share it with you on your Telegram channel and we'll post it on the website so that everyone is at tip and not so that you have it like compiled bononita. The second thing if I just have to give something like and advice in the set like it's an overwhelming process. It's a stressful process. You're at an advantage because high school naturally have a lot of your friends also applying, going through the same process. Use that to your advantage. But ACT practice versus like doing it with a friend, actually trading resources, talking about like colleges. Swapping information but the whole point of like CTP is not only kenya bicha information that we want you guys to form a community like live session la level 3 yallachu tamaroch if you've been doing like peer review essays I don't know if my voice cut out but you've been doing peer review essays your instructors have been reviewing your essays and we want you to continue that like ananta group ena barao so I want to continue that go through the application cycle together it's such a great resource. And that's CTP because that's not how like application cycle works. Like you get into Colombia so you are like it's a process. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and not like go through it together. But so that's part of the CTP. And we were students together in CTP, and it really helped. Like you support each other, and that you form long-lasting friendships. It is very helpful. And so that's the second thing that I wanted to say. The third thing is just in closing. First, thank you so much to all of our instructors. But this was like we had been planning the summer session. We always do it. We plan for the summer session. The COVID thing happened. It was unexpected. We had to move virtual. Everyone really assisted us. Like all of the instructors in Mateo Chosi, they had a lot of like internships, research. They did. They were still recording your videos, maintaining like classes, doing the live sessions. So there's time difference. On a better live session. So I really, really want to thank everyone, all of the instructors, and thank you to all of the students, because I know it was such like hard and better accessing Moodle for the first time, learning how to use that, being equipped in that sense. And now Lanantan, thank you so much for bearing with us. And as we made mistakes, Abrakun, for being patient, for like letting us adjust, and for letting us kind of give you this opportunity. And the fact that you applied, it really means a lot to us. This year we had a record number of applications. We'd never seen this number of applications before. And now you've got this. Like, it's all up to you. And I think we just gave you like a nudge, like it's up to you to continue. It's up to you to take it wherever you want to take it. So you guys got this. Keep in touch. Keep in touch with us. Our website, Facebook, Instagram, we all have that. So keep in touch with all of that. And we want to be here for you guys, whatever you have to do. And you started, we want to be here for you to help you finish it. So that's what I have to say in closing. Thank you so much for attending this final panel. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you so much. And have a rest. Good night. Have a rest. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.